Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, and in today's video, I'm going to share the 10 things I think you should bring to prepare for any Yu-Gi-Oh event, whether it's local, regional, national, and I'm going to explain each one. Let's get started. So first and foremost, you need to bring your deck in a deck box. So this sounds like, duh, Paul, like of course I need to bring my deck. It's obvious. But the truth is, you really have to remember to bring this. I've gone to events with friends where people have literally found out at the event that they left their deck at home. And while that's not necessarily a horrible thing at like a local, at regionals and YCS and other events, that's huge. If you traveled, hours and miles and you find out you don't actually have your deck, then that really sucks. So you'll definitely want to make sure to double check that you bring it. When you're competing at an event, you're going to want to, of course, have your main, side, and extra. As I have here in this example, I've got, main deck, ooh, oh nice, cool, side and extra, and these are token cards. So if you know that your deck uses token cards, that's always a nice, useful thing to bring. Also, if you use foreign cards, make sure that you bring translations of them. Copies of the English cards are usually great. You can have it written down, although I think that just having English translations is easier. And remember that with these, you don't want to include anything extra, like any extra kind of cards and stuff and like other pieces of paper, because when you're playing, at least at larger events, it's kind of important to make sure your main deck, side deck, and extra deck are always visible to your opponent, but also that there isn't like other miscellaneous stuff kind of sitting in your deck box, like other cards you could be grabbing and stuff. So that's really important. And when you go to at least a larger event, I like to say that it's good to have a tougher, kind of better built deck box. This, for example, is the Ultimate Guard Flip and Trade deck box. I've actually reviewed it. No, it's not a product plug, but it is a really highly recommended deck box that I think is a great one. There are several other good options. It's just built well. It looks nice. Comes in some colors, and it has this compartment that can store dice and counters and stuff, which we'll get into a little bit later. So yeah, if you are interested in buying it, I'm gonna actually have links in the description to all of the things I mentioned in this video that like people may want to buy, or at least the Yu-Gi-Oh supplies. So yeah, deck box. Second thing, card sleeves. So backup card sleeves. You want to make sure that your deck is, of course, sleeved and everything freshly when you go to a big event. And in those 2-day events, especially, this becomes more important. You want to have extra card sleeves in case your sleeves get damaged. Remember, if your sleeves get damaged at an event, then, you can get in some trouble for like marked cards and stuff like that. So if a sleeve ever gets damaged or breaks or whatever, you want to be able to replace it. And it's usually just great to have a second pack of sleeves altogether in case there isn't a way to buy them at the venue. Usually vendors will have them, but I always like to kind of have my own. These are just regular Ultra Pro Mat, small black sleeves, whatever just matches your deck. That saves you a lot of time, unlike in this example. So yeah, just make sure that you have some extra sleeves. It's a really good thing. Not much more to say about this. And of course there are different brands like, KMC, Player's Choice, stuff like that people prefer, but Ultra Pro's always kind of been my go-to. Next thing is a Konami ID. This one's really old. But a Konami ID, if you already know your Konami card number, then that's really the only important thing on these. But either way, you will want to have this. It's just what you use to play in sanctioned events. And along with this, which I haven't included in this video for obvious reasons, you do need to have a sort of personal form of ID. So a driver's license will do, state issued ID, even like a student, just a student ID card for like if you're in college or whatever, those work just fine. But at Yu-Gi-Oh events now, you usually have to provide that to ensure that you're you and not playing for somebody else. And so that's just something you'll want to bring along with your card. And on a, I guess, related note, money. Dead presidents, go figure, are quite useful at Yu-Gi-Oh events. So at bigger events like YCSs and regionals, it costs $20 to enter, and you'll get your 5 packs or whatever, but they don't take debit or credit cards. They only take cash, so you'll need to at least have $20 to enter the event. Now, the important thing to remember is that you shouldn't only bring $20, of course. Bring more money for food and other things, but do keep in mind that some places don't allow like card selling and trading, so if a place doesn't allow it, you should always respect that. But even if there are vendors there, then this can be useful for stuff like that. Next thing is calculator. So calculator and or notepad. This is, kind of personal preference. Different people prefer different things. This is actually a calculator that was provided to me by Legion Supplies. I've reviewed some of their deck boxes, I believe, so you can check out their reviews on those, but this is by them. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Centric calculator if you're interested in getting it. Has the 8,000, and some, minus however much life point, plus that type of stuff. Really cool. Some people prefer the larger graphing calculators, like those TI series calculators that take batteries and stuff. Those are good because you can kind of keep a log on stuff and you can do math and, calculate like if I can get for game this turn. But, they are maybe a little bit larger, a little bit heavier. It's whatever you prefer. You can also use a notepad, and sometimes that's preferred by judges and things like that, because notepads with, pen and paper basically are good for keeping track of life points kind of as a log, so you can backtrack and see where life is, whereas a calculator could have been manipulated or whatever. So in a clutch situation, a judge might choose that. Speaking of notepads, this isn't really its own thing, but a pen is also very helpful to have. If you're writing down your life points, but also to sign like match slips and stuff like that, fill out a deck list form. Just useful thing. You don't want to have to ask the guy next to you for the pen all the time. And sometimes these events actually don't even provide pens. Most do, but some don't actually have pens readily available. So it's always just more convenient to have something like this on your person. Next thing is dice. I'm just going to bring out one for example. So dice, coins, tokens, whatever you need. If your deck uses, counters and that type of thing, or some dice related effects, it's always good to have a few dice on hand. And if nothing else, they're good for deciding who goes first. Like with the pins, you don't want to be the guy who's always asking for, oh, can I borrow your die? And everybody will at the beginning of the round to see who goes first. So good to have your own. It's just a really helpful thing. Next, you'll want to have a playmat. So going to take this quick opportunity to plug my own. I do provide, I have on sale Team APS playmats. Really useful. Any playmat will do, of course, but this is the Team APS playmat. If you're interested in buying it, there will be a link in the description where you can get it. But a more important thing, though, in general, is that playmats are just great. They protect your cards. They, when you go to some events, you never know. The tables might be grimy and sweaty or just sticky or whatever, and you want to make sure that you have a nice way to just kind of protect your cards. And something else that you'll want to keep in mind is have a mat tube along with your playmat. So something like this. There are also mat bags that they have now, I've seen on Inked Gaming. I'm not sure how good those are, but yeah. So just something to protect your mat so you don't have to cram it around in your backpack all day long. Really helps. Next thing, hygiene and health sort of related stuff. This can actually extend to a number of things, but just for the sake of example, hand sanitizer and maybe just a leave or some similar headache, just minor sort of irritational thing that you can take. This could include, some people like chapstick, some people like to have mints, or, some people like to have, just kind of little things like that. I would even say bubble gum could go in this category. Just little things. This is important because you're going to be shaking a lot of hands and trading through a lot of cards, and it always kind of sucks when you get back from an event and you're a little bit sick because you've been around so many people and germs spread fast. So, and you might get a headache at an event, so this type of thing can be really useful. Also, some people will of course suggest deodorant. I always say make sure that you've showered and used deodorant or whatever you use before an event. You want to be clean, don't smell, but bringing it with you to the event can also be an option. So next thing is snacks. Most large events like regionals and up don't usually have lunch breaks built into their schedule. They just got to get everybody in, they got to get everybody out. So there isn't always time to necessarily, go get food. So I always say just bring a light snack, something kind of healthy. And this isn't maybe the healthiest thing, but just something like a Snickers or Butterfinger, maybe a granola bar or something like that, and just water. Keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself focused, have a little bit of energy. Some people even prefer when they're playing in events to not eat as heavy a load. They just will eat, lighter stuff just so that they still have energy, but that they're focused. But if a place has regulations where you can't bring outside food and drinks, be sure to respect that and do whatever's necessary. But these are useful things to have on your person. And finally, a playmat is a trade binder is super useful to have. Obviously, if you're going to be focused on it, If you're going to be trading cards, you'll want to bring your trades. Some people are for and against like bringing trades with you to larger events. I say it's fine, but just make sure you watch your stuff. Have a binder that's kind of protective. This is BCW's Profolio LX binder. I'm actually trying to do a video review on it pretty soon. So if you guys want me to do that, just give it a thumbs up. But yeah, just something to keep your trades in. Some general bits of advice I would say are to just kind of, keep your trades to yourself. Only trade with one person at a time. Don't, trade while you're playing. I don't actually have any cards in this. It's just a visual. But yeah, just stuff like that. Be smart. Don't advertise your trades and everything. You don't want anything to get stolen. That's always the most important thing. And as a bonus item, I just figured I would include, you can actually print off deck list forms online. So in the description of the video, I'm gonna leave a link to it, but you can always just Google Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck list form. You can actually print out the deck list form before you go to an event and fill it out yourself beforehand, and it just saves you a lot of time, especially those really big events where like, registration is about to end and you're just like quickly rushing through your deck list. And this way, if you have your deck list planned in advance, you can just have it already filled out. And in fact, it's an editable PDF file, so you can actually edit the file, like type it in, so that way whenever you print it out, all of your cards fit into the blanks and they're totally legible. You won't have any complaints about that. So this is sort of a small Yu-Gi-Oh! Life hack for those of you who may not know it, but you can print out, a deck list form, and that's always a really useful thing to do. And that's actually going to pretty much conclude all of the things that I had in mind for this video. So these are the 10 things to quickly recap. First, your deck in a deck box, of course. Extra sleeves for number 2. Number 3 being your Kasi ID with, another ID like a driver's license or whatever. Calculator with, whatever kind, or pen and paper. That's number 4. Number 5 is bring money, preferably a lot of cash. Number 6 being dice, coins, stuff like that. 7 being, hand sanitizer, mints, whatever you need. Snacks, number 8. Playmat, number 9. And number 10 being a trade binder, with the bonus being print out a deck list form. And that's going to pretty much be it for this video. I hope you guys liked. I hope it was really informative, just kind of helpful. This might be great for newer players. If there's somebody who might need this video, share it with them. I think it's going to be just a really great go-to video. And if you enjoyed it yourself, give it a thumbs up. Also, in the comments, let me know what your experiences with, preparing for events like this has been. What would you suggest bringing that maybe I didn't include on this list, and why? That's going to be it. One last thing is, speaking of large events, I'm going to be at YCS Houston this weekend, April 9th. If you're watching this video after that, which there's a very good chance people will be. It was an event that I had, and probably, I guess I've enjoyed. But yeah, so if you're going to be at that event this weekend, you can meet me there. I'll be with the twins and Trell, and we'll be talking to people and taking pictures and signing stuff and dueling. It's going to be great. So yeah, that should be fun. Anyway, I just thought it was related to this. And that's going to be all. So subscribe if you liked it to catch more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.